Welcome to Ole Walls House. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls, and I'm back with you. Episode 150. 150 episodes of Ole Walls House coming your way right now. Got a great show coming. Before we get into it, as always, if you guys could you rate, review, comment, subscribe, share, let everybody know about Ole Walls House. It's the place to be. Fun show coming. Like I said, we're talking football, college, and NFL. We got a little college basketball. Not too much going on there. The Flyers getting hot? Are the Flyers getting hot a little bit? We got a couple fights. Fight game. So fun stuff coming. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support so much. So without too much further ado, why don't we just go dive into this thing? NFL Week 11. The Packers, they get a win. We still own you, Bears. We still own you. I will not be doing a Monday Night Addendum for however many weeks in a row that is now. Texans, Cowboys does not interest me one bit. The Texans should roll them. If the Texans don't, then I don't know. Who cares, right? Like, bad look for the Texans, though. Bad look for the Texans. But let's talk the Packers and the Bears. The Packers have now won 11 straight. I think it's like 2,164 days now since the Bears have beat the Packers. They shouldn't have. The Packers should not have won the game. Shouldn't have happened. They had no business winning that game. It took a miracle to end the game. A blocked field goal. You know, I was thinking back, to when I said I can't remember the last time I saw a blocked field goal win the game when the Chiefs did it, and here we go. The Packers do it. The Packers do it to keep their season rolling. 7-3 for the Packers now. But man, this was a game. I mean, for once though, I was bitching a couple weeks ago that they seem to be getting off the slow starts, and they did not get off to a slow start. They came out and they drove the ball right down the field. Jordan Love hit Jaden Reed in the end zone. Just great starting drive. Felt like, we're just going to come in here and roll the Bears. And it just wasn't that. I mean, it was a Bears team that gave up something like, 7 sacks in their last game? And the Packers could get no pressure on at all. How many times did I write down? 3 times I wrote down no pressure. Wrote down no pressure early. Still no pressure was my next comment, and then no pressure at all. So I had that feeling throughout the game. Just not great. Just not great. Here's one. That bullshit late hit call they called on Xavier McKinney when Caleb Williams was up the sideline was maybe the softest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not the biggest, everything's so soft in the NFL today, guy, but that was the softest shit I've ever seen in my life. I understand you got to protect the quarterback. That's the moneymaker. It's an entertainment product. You got to have your biggest faces, your most visible people, the people that make the league go. You got to have them out there. I get it. It's not exactly ideal in every sense, but I get it 100%. That was the softest thing I've ever seen. That was bullshit. But there were some question marks with this team. Drops continue to be a thing. Twice they made it to the red zone and came away with 0 points. Just another horrendous Jordan Love interception. Just completely sailed a guy. I think, did I tell me I took a picture? Of course I did. Yeah, here we go. Jordan Love's interceptions when he started the game. Week 1 threw an interception. Week 4 threw 3 interceptions. Week 5 an interception. Week 6 an interception. Week 7 an interception. Week 8 an interception. Week 9 an interception. Week 10 was a bye. Week 11 an interception. That's an issue. You can't be doing that, man. You can't just completely, be a liability to turn the ball over every game. We can't just be like, when is the big Jordan Love interception coming? And it's worrisome. It's worrisome that you can't always overcome it. You don't always get lucky with a blocked field goal. And I know I've said this, he's going to be Brett Favre out there. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's Brett Favre if we're comparing him. we're not actually comparing. We're just talking play style. Like Rodgers took care of the ball, was almost risk adverse, maybe to a fault occasionally. Favre was just going to sling it. Like that's Love. Love's going to let it go. But the problem with Love is he's also throwing like ones like the one he threw yesterday. He just completely sailed it. It wasn't like he was trying to squeeze something. I mean, Tucker Kraft was wide open and just completely sailed it over him. Just cannot be happening. Christian Watson, I want to give out a big shout out to Christian Watson. I mean, his has 4 catches, 150 yards in some big moments. He caught the long one that he broke off that led to the go-ahead touchdown. That was his most receiving yards ever in a game. So just good on him. Josh Jacobs remains kind of the bell cow of this team. 18 carries, only 76 yards, but like still solid, a little over 4 yards a carry, scores a touchdown. Like he's the dude for these guys. There's no doubt about it. He is the dude. And he's, Bill Gardner and I were texting during the game. It's usually he's like, he never looks like he's moving fast. And I just responded back, he's shifty. He's shifty. And it does. It doesn't ever look like he's got breakaway speed or is crazy fast when he hits the hole, but like he does the things. He's a tough runner. It seems like he's very, even keeled, solid week in and week out. So, yeah. Where was I going next? Oh, the 2 red zones with no points, not no touchdowns, no points. Went for it on one and the turnover, the interception on the other. The defense was a little worrisome. They were getting dink and dunked a lot. What I worry about this defense is that this defense is made to play from like a touchdown or more lead. And when the Packers aren't in that position, I worry about what this defense is set up to do. It feels like they're a defense that's set up to cause turnovers when the other team has to push the ball downfield. And we saw the Bears dink and dunk a lot. New play caller for the Bears this weekend. And I think they were smart about the way they utilized Caleb Williams. Like, if we can get him out in space a little bit, give him the option to run, quick passes, quick outs, quick completions, high percentage, low risk, lower reward, but like just eliminating the risk. Quick outs, dump offs, quick shots over the middle. And, it was worrisome to see the way they kind of carved them up a little bit at times. If you look at the team stats, I mean, the Bears outgained them. They ran the ball incredibly well, 179 rush yards. They picked up 9 third down conversions and 3 fourth down conversions. They had, I think, in the last 3 games, picked up 3 or 4 third down conversions. So defense struggled getting off the field. Late in the game, I was really annoyed. It was 3rd and 18 or something. The defense had just got 2 consecutive sacks. Like I said, for the first time all game, putting some pressure on because the Bears had to try and push it downfield early in that last drive to get in the field goal distance. And then it was 3rd and 20, and they're lined up 12 yards off the ball. I'm not saying you got to be in press coverage, but like it's 3rd and 20. Like don't just let them throw it to 15 yards down the field because they're going for it. And that's exactly what happened. They threw it like 14 or 15 yards down the field. The defense was back. They got it to like 2 yards away. They picked up the 4th down. And it was just like, it's like 3rd and 26 again. We're doing this. But, and then the other thing I thought was very interesting was it seemed like the Bears, once they got it into field goal range, were like, yep, we're good. Like we just got into field goal range. It's 46 yards. And they didn't really, I think they had 30 or 40 seconds at that point. And I think at least if they didn't, I apologize. But it felt like they're just like, yeah, we're good. We're not going out there. We're going to run the clock down. And the farther back you get, the lower you have to kick it to get it there. And luckily, a Packers player got its hand on it. And 11 in a row. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, a win is a win in the NFL. There's no style points. There's no rankings. It's just where you are in the standings. And the Packers are 7-3. There is a tough road ahead for the Green Bay Packers if you look at the next set of football games for them. So next week, the 49ers come to town, coming off a loss. I don't know. I maybe would have preferred them winning that game coming into town. They got to play the Dolphins then on a short week on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving. Sorry, it's bothering me. Dolphins are a tough, dangerous team. Now that Tua's back, the record kind of isn't who they are. Then the following Thursday, they go to the Lions. I mean, at least it's not, a short weekend to the Lions, because then it's nothing. But, it's not like the Lions are coming off a short week. They're playing Thanksgiving too. And the Lions are just dominating people. So that's tough. The Seahawks are tough. Just saw them get a good win. And then the Saints, who knows what you're getting out of the Saints? There seems to be a little revitalization there. Then at the Vikings, and it's at the Lions too, and it's at the Seahawks. And then the Bears to end the year. So, there's a couple of games in there you could kind of ring up in the win column, the Saints and the Bears. But, otherwise, those are a lot of tough games in there, and at a couple of tough locations. Minnesota, Seattle, and at Detroit. Not to mention those teams are all solid. So, time to put our big boy pants on. The Packers won't play another noon game until December 29th. So 3:30 this coming week, and then they don't play again on Sunday. Is that December 15th game? Yeah, that's the Sunday night, and then the following game against the Saints is Monday night. So it's prime time from here on in for the Green Bay Packers. No hiding in the noon slate. One last thing on the Packers. The Boomer green collar with Packer bow tie moves to 7-0. It was put on Sunday morning this week, so that rings true. Anytime that collar goes on before Sunday or not at all, the Packers are 0-3. Again, there was 1 week. The first week I didn't put it on them. It was a Friday game, didn't think of it. The next time they lost, it went on early, and then last against the Lions, it went on Saturday as well. So the Boomer collar stays undefeated when put on Sunday. Let's just swing around the rest of the NFL. Thursday night, Eagles got a good win over the Commanders. That was a fun game. The Dolphins, like I said, the Dolphins pick up another win. The Dolphins move to 4-6, not out of it in the wild card race. Not out of it. Not out of it at all. I'm going to try and pull up some wild card standings here, too, while I'm talking. Try and just double task here. Multitask, that's the word. The Saints, like I said, who knows what we're getting out of them. The Browns get absolutely pummeled by them. So the Saints scoring some points again. There's still some pieces on that team that are pretty interesting. The Colts take down the Jets. Anthony Richardson scores a late touchdown. I'm going to pull up a little stat here. My guy, Aaron Rodgers. I hate doing this to him. Winning percentage as Jets starting quarterback. Zach Wilson, 364. Sam Darnold, who's killing it with the Vikings, 342. Aaron Rodgers, 273. Oof. 3-8. I don't even know if it's a possibility for them to make the playoffs at this point. They're 11th in the standings currently. Yeah. That's the 4-7 Bengals, 4-6 Dolphins, and 5-6 Colts all out ahead of them. That's going to be a tough road. Vikings keep winning. Titans hung around. It never felt like they were in it. They hung around to try and mess up my cover. I know that much. That was not appreciated. Like I said, the Lions, just an absolute wagon. Good Lord. Just Jared Goff, 24 of 29, 412, 4 tutties, no interceptions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 161 yards on 11 catches, 2 tutties for himself. This one got out of hand early. By midway through the second quarter, it was already 21-3, and it never got better. 4 more touchdowns in the second half as the Jacksonville Jaguars went scoreless in the second half. I know they don't have Trevor Lawrence, but I'm going to be shocked if Doug Peterson makes it to the end of the year. Maybe he will, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. Rams hang on and beat the Patriots. That keeps them alive. They're just one slot out of the playoffs in the NFC. That's a few games back, though. The Packers are the 6th seed. The Commanders are the 7th seed, 7-3 and 7-4. So that 5-5, 5-5, 5-5 NFC West are all chasing their brethren out there, the Arizona Cardinals at 6-4. So that seems to be their way in. That seems to be their way in, is to win the division, unless the Commanders start really coming back to earth. Helpful for those teams chasing them that they lost this week. So the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Despite Justin Fields sliding before the first down, which would have ended the game. They ended up picking up the first down to end the game anyway, but oofta. Justin Tucker's going through it. I saw a number of missed kicks this week. Just watching, Red Zone was on the little TV while I was watching the Packer game. Numbers of mixed kicks. Don't know what that was all about, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they're playing some good ball. 8-2. Game and a half, right? That'd be a game and a half lead on the Ravens at 7-4, and then well up on the Bengals. So it's a 2-team race in the AFC North, and the Steelers take the first blow against the Ravens. So that was a fun game that I kept seeing. Steelers did not score a touchdown. No touchdowns, but Steelers out ahead. Geno ain't right back out in San Fran either. Keeps the Seahawks alive to chase down that. Would have been a big win for the 49ers to tie up the Cardinals. The Cardinals were off this week. So the Broncos absolutely massacre the Atlanta Falcons to go to 6-5. Bo Nix has a nice game. 28-33, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just like I said, just dismantle the Falcons 38-6. Just wowza. Boat racing. A couple of boat racers out there today. The Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen gets it done. 4th down, just a marvelous little scramble, and then busts one. And busts one, takes it all the way to the end zone. They go up 9. They were the first team to score more than 28 points on the Kansas City Chiefs in 30 games. 30 games. There's no longer an undefeated team in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs finally have a loss, and the Buffalo Bills take a massive swing and get a big knockdown. 9-2 now. The Chiefs are 9-1, so they still would have home field advantage and get the bye. But if we get to a point where there's a tiebreaker, now the Bills have it. That's crucial for them. So. And the Steelers are still around to get that bye at 8-2. Like, they're right there. We are, 11 games, 10 games in, depending on the team. There's a lot of football left. A lot of stuff can happen, but you start looking back and you're like, okay, the Bills have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. Things like that matter. Then the Chargers, the LA Chargers, not San Diego. They get out early on the Bengals, putting it on them. 24-6 at halftime. The Bengals come roaring back in the second half. 3 touchdowns, 2 of those to Jamar Chase, not surprisingly. And but J.K. Dobbins bust out a 29-yarder, couple touchdowns for him that day. Joe Burrow continues to play good ball. I mean, he threw it a lot in this game, as you would expect with the team being down so much, 50 times. But 356 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been fantastic for me in fantasy this year. But man, 4-7, that feels like a huge underachievement for the Cincinnati Bengals. And like I said, they're on the outside looking in right now. So if you're just looking at the playoffs right now, like I said, the AFC is really wide open for that last wild card spot. You got the Broncos at 6-5, the Colts at 5-6. We can pull this up here. I can even share this for you so you can see. Why not? What do you say, people? We'll toss that up on the screen for you. Yeah, so you look at the bottom here. You got the Broncos there in the last spot, but you got the Colts at 5-6, the Dolphins right there at 4-6, and the Bengals 4-7. That seems like a big ask. Obviously, the Jets down here. Over in the NFC, like I said, 5-5, so 2.5 games back, or 1.5 games back, however you want it would be 1.5. It'd be 1.5 games back. Might be 2 with the extra win. I think it'd be 2 with the extra win. But all those 5-5 teams, the Bucks, the Bears, I would say are out of it. But all those 5-5 teams could theoretically chase down the Commanders, but they're all probably chasing the Arizona Cardinals right there. So let's just see what we got coming up this week we'll stop sharing that for you. See what we got coming up this week in games. Steelers, Browns, Thursday night. That could be interesting. The Browns could do something, I don't know. But just seeing the Steelers at this point seems pretty intriguing. Commanders get the Cowboys, so not good for those teams chasing them. The Cowboys seem to be, in dire straits. The Bears got to come right back off that tough loss and play the Vikings. Dolphins get the Patriots. There you go. Another winnable game. Chiefs have a nice bounce back game. They got the Panthers. Lions play the Colts. Can the Colts put up any more of an effort than teams have been doing against the Lions this year? We will see. Cardinals, Seahawks. Big game in the NFC West. Broncos, Raiders. Can the Broncos keep rolling? That's a good look. Bucks, Giants, who cares? Packers got the 49ers. 49ers need to win to keep pace. Can the Packers keep it rolling? Can they get to 8-3? Like I said, there's a tough road ahead of them. So, you talk about those NFC West teams at 5-5. The Packers, they're 7-3, but there are some losses coming down the stretch for them. That's not just being a pessimistic Packers fan. That's just a fact of life. They got to play some really good teams. They probably lose. If the Packers, they're 7-3 right now, so there's 7 games left. If the Packers went 4-3 for the rest of the season, I would be pretty happy. 5-2 is static. 3-4, yeah, okay. That gets them in the playoffs, I would think. I would take if you gave me 3-4, 10-7 right now, I'll take it. I won't be happy. 2-5 is out there. I'm sorry to say that. So those 5-5 NFC West teams stay in it, and there's the Rams playing the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, and then Ravens Chargers next Monday night. That may get an addendum from me. That might get a Monday night addendum. So we got a fun week of fun week of NFL football coming this week. College football, just do Penn State real quick. They dominate Purdue. That's was expected, and I've been saying it. It should be domination the entire rest of the way. They've got Minnesota and Maryland left. At Minnesota, that one's probably a tougher game than Maryland. I don't know if they've got a line out for that yet. I might be able to see if I can find a line. 12-point favorites on the road. Should be able to handle your business and get that done. Probably the biggest game of the weekend was Georgia and Tennessee, and Georgia handled business. They take down Tennessee. They end up moving up to 8th in the AP poll. That gives Tennessee 2 losses. That was a 3-loss Georgia team. There were probably questions if they could have made the playoff. They stay alive in that. Oregon gets tested. Oregon. There's a town in Wisconsin called Oregon. Oregon gets tested by Wisconsin, but Wisconsin cannot pull it off. So, those were the 2 big results. And the SEC is going to be wild. I'll just spin through here. Ohio State dominates. Colorado keeps winning. They dominate Utah. Texas wins. Clemson wins. Number 20, Tulane wins. Alabama beat the shit out of Mercer. Tough game there. SMU keeps winning. Notre Dame keeps winning. South Carolina beat Missouri. That was a ranked matchup. One of the only 2 or maybe 3. And then Kansas rocks the boat, takes down BYU. BYU is no longer undefeated. So the SEC could get wild here. Texas and Texas A&M are 5-1 currently, top the SEC. Then there are a mess of teams with 2 losses. Georgia has 2 losses. They're 6-2. Georgia has played all their SEC games now. Only 8, I believe. Let me double check that. I'm 99% sure that the SEC only plays 8 conference games still, which is something. Yep, they play UMass this week, and then they play Georgia Tech to end the year. So they're done. They're in at 6-2. Alabama, 4-2. Ole Miss, 4-2. Tennessee, 5-2. So a bunch of 2-loss teams. I don't know how many of them play each other coming down. Alabama has Oklahoma. Ole Miss plays Florida, who beat LSU and just knocked them right out of every contention. Texas plays Kentucky. Texas A&M plays Auburn. I don't know that any of those guys play each other. Tennessee plays Vandy in a couple weeks. Texas and Texas A&M do play. Okay, now we're talking. Texas and Texas A&M play. So, I mean, gosh, could you imagine if Texas loses to Kentucky, then beats Texas A&M, all the other teams win, and you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way tie for the top two spots in the SEC to see who goes to that conference title game? That'd be fun, man. That'd be a lot of fun. What do we have this coming week? The big game this week is Indiana at Ohio State. We're going to find out a lot about Indiana. Obviously, Indiana, we don't really know. Sorry, I'm trying to do things here. We don't really know. Do we really know what Indiana has been about? They've been winning by a lot. And, hey, that's what you got to do when you play bad teams. You got to win by a lot. And like I said, you don't fault teams for that. But, I mean, this year, FIU, Western Illinois, UCLA, who's not any good, Charlotte, Maryland's no good, Northwestern's no good. They beat the shit out of Nebraska, who's maybe a better team than kind of the rest. Washington, who's not very good, they beat 31-17. Michigan State, again, not very good, beat the shit out of them 47-10. Michigan, solid win, but it was close, 20-15. And this isn't a great Michigan team. I just see them going into the horseshoe on Saturday. I don't think it goes well for Indiana. And then what does a one-loss Indiana team look like? I just don't know. Like, where does that put them in the 12-team playoff? Is a one-loss Indiana team, if they get just trounced by Ohio State, where does that put them in concern with Penn State? I mean, Penn State played Ohio State tough at least. They've got, I think, Wisconsin, maybe a better win. They've got a better win over Illinois. Is USC a good win? They beat the shit out of Washington, too. It's not West Virginia. Does that mean anything? I mean, what's West Virginia's record now? West Virginia, Mountain Mama. I lost it. Hang on. West Virginia. The West Virginia Mountaineers, they just lost to Baylor this weekend. They're 5-5. Like, the resumes for Penn State and Indiana, not great. And, you know, if it comes down to them, Penn State or Indiana, is it all just based on how you lost to Ohio State? Now, hey, Indiana can shut me up and it can shut everybody else up if it just goes out and wins, right? Like, just beat Ohio State and you're going to the Big Ten title game, right? As long as you don't fall apart in your last game. So, yeah. There it is. You know what I want to take a stand on is these bullshit SEC games late in the season. Get them out of the way early. Like, Georgia's playing UMass this week. Tennessee's playing UTEP. Alabama just played Mercer. If you want to do that, I know every college team does it. I'm a Penn State fan. They play dog shit teams every year. Do it at the start of the season. You don't need this shit late in the season. Any other good games? Arizona, BYU. BYU needs a bounce back. Army and Notre Dame. I believe that game's at Yankee Stadium. I'm like 99% sure. Army is ranked, boys and girls. 18th in the country. The Army Black Knights. 9-0. Undefeated Army. Notre Dame's got to keep winning to keep their playoff hopes alive. Boise State is up to 12 in the AP poll. And then Alabama, Oklahoma should be an interesting one. So nothing crazy on the slate this week. Nothing other than Ohio State, Indiana, obviously. Sorry. And then next week, any real top matchups? Texas and Texas A&M next week. So a couple weeks left. Going to be interesting to see what the college football standings look like when they come out Tuesday night. So still fun stuff ahead in college football. And, you know, we're going to have the playoffs, man. It's just so great. It's just so great that we actually have a playoff. and not a bullshit 14 playoff, but just a good old-fashioned real playoff. I'm excited. The Flyers got something going right now. The Flyers got something going. I don't know. 3 in a row. And in their last 5 games, they've scored got 9 points. So a little something going here. Have won 4 of the last 5, went to overtime with the Panthers. Like I said, won 3 in a row here. Big Meech, he's got 5 points in the last 3 games after getting sat down for a couple games. So, hey, I like it. Big Meech had the overtime winner on Thursday night against the Senators. He had a beautiful little dump off to Travis Konechny on Saturday against the Sabres. And someone took a little pot shot on him, and old TK wasn't having that, got into it. So the Flyers, they got a little something going here. That Thursday goal by Big Meech, sliding one in right down the crease. I think that's what they call it, right down the crease of the goal, right along the side there. That was nice. Like I said, that dump off that he had to Konechny, they had a little 2-on-0 going, and he just held him right down to the end and dumped it back to him. Konechny sent it right in. So Big Meech, let's keep him on the ice, Tortorella. Let's keep him on the ice. We don't need him sitting. Get him some playing time. How many games we got here? We got 3 more games this week. The Avs, the Hurricanes, and the Blackhawks. Nice matchup on Saturday with the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard and Matvei Michkov. The Avs, solid team, 9-9, nothing to sniff at there. The Hurricanes, good team, real good team. Best points, most points in the Eastern Conference. So tough matchup there. And the Blackhawks. Do the Blackhawks still stink? They probably still stink, right? That could be a win. They sure do. They've only got 13 points. 13 points. Flyers up to fifth in the Metropolitan Division. Still 5 back of the Rangers for 4th, but they're knocking on the door of so at the top 3, so 23. They're just a point outside the wild card. I know we're very, very early into the season, only 18 games in of 82. But hey, the Flyers showing a little bit of life. I like that, showing a little life. It looked like this might be getting bad early this season, but hey, a little bit of life is nice. Big Meech showing himself to be a fun guy to pay attention to. So Flyers, keep it up. College basketball, Carolina crushed UNC. They're the same team. They crushed American. They play Hawaii. In Hawaii. They must be playing in the Maui Invitational this year, if that's correct. Then if they're going to Hawaii to play a game. Maui brackets. Yeah, because then Dayton is a couple days later, so that's got to be a game on the way out. They usually do that. Yep, they're in the Maui Invitational. They will play Dayton in the first game on November 25th, and then games November 26th and 27th to do that. They would play the winner of Auburn and Iowa State. The rest of the teams in Maui are UConn, Memphis, Colorado, Michigan State, Auburn, Iowa State, Dayton, and North Carolina. So maybe they can get to the finals and play UConn. Looks like UConn will be on the other side of that bracket. So, Maui Invitational is fun. I like the tournament time, the early season tournament time in college basketball. So, that's about all I got there. Let's keep this thing rolling. Fight game. Hey, for the first time in a long time, we're talking some fights. Couple of fights this weekend. Let's start with Friday night's affair on Netflix. For those of you who are able to watch it, Netflix was really struggling. I think they estimated something like 60 million households tuned in for the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. It was not going well. I had started when the broadcast started. I threw it on, and it was working fine early. Picked the roommate up. Was giving her a ride, and I left. Oh gosh, not too long before the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight started, and got back, and it was just it shut off. It locked out. Like, oh, Netflix is experiencing issues or whatever the hell it was saying. was working fine up until that point. Obviously, that's when the flood of people started coming on, was to get in before the main event, and obviously you had some people who were interested in that fight. Woo, rough look for Netflix. Tough. They got a Christmas Day NFL football game coming. Hopefully they worked out the kinks with this thing. I did see somebody say, hey, it was a smart move. Maybe it was Dana White. Might have been Dana White. He was like, oh, they had to test something. Yeah, it was Dana White. He's like, they had to test it. Mike Tyson brings a lot of eyeballs. It was a good test for him. And, hopefully they get it figured out, because can't be having that happen. I mean, if that happens again during that football game on Christmas Day, oofta. But on to the fight. Let's start with the Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano fight. Those two chicks just go at it. We had a headbutt. Amanda Serrano with one of the nastiest cuts over her eye I've ever seen. A little controversy in that decision. I wasn't paying enough attention. It was buffering in and out to form a full opinion on it. The punch stats, all in Amanda Serrano's favor. The punch stats don't always tell the whole story. I did see at points in the rounds that I thought Katie Taylor was winning, that she was landing some more significant punches. Again, I didn't see the whole fight straight through. I was going through a lot of buffering problems, figuring out my strategy, ended up kind of establishing a strategy on how to fix it. But robbery may be a little strong, maybe not. It seemed to be the wrong decision. I know they're like, oh, we got to settle this in the cage, PFL, MMA style. I'm like, what? How does that make sense? Amanda Serrano's trainer just being a total asshat, making it all about himself, was something. But yeah, on to Tyson Paul. First of all, the announcer has a nickname for himself, Big Mo or something like that. That was new. Hadn't seen that before. That was really something. Rosie Perez on commentary was interesting. I don't know what that was about. I mean, I know she's a huge fight fan. I'm not knocking her. It was an interesting choice. I mean, you got Roy Jones Jr. up there, who's been doing it forever, was on those HBO teams. Mauro Ranallo trying to throw a catchphrase in every 6 seconds, and Rosie Perez. So it was all interesting. But the fight itself, I mean, it was cool seeing Tyson and all. You got to see a lot of Tyson. You got to see his whole ass at one point if you were watching. Just the whole thing. Cameraman zoomed right in on it, it seemed like, for a second. And we got to see about 60 good seconds of Mike Tyson. And then it was gone. The gas tank was gone. And I saw a lot of people being like, oh, it's fixed. They paid Tyson. I saw one that Tyson caught like Jake Paul like under the chin, kind of on the neck. And then Jake Paul was like, and like stuck his tongue out at him. So it's like, oh yeah, that was Jake Paul's signal to tell Tyson to settle down. It's like, oh, no. There's a lot wrong in boxing. The fight was not fixed. It was just Mike Tyson is 58 years old, people. He's 58. He's an old man. Jake Paul is a solid boxer. I don't think he's great. I don't know if he can win a world title. I don't think he can. But Mike Tyson is 58 years old. Like, you could see, like, he just didn't have it. And, like, he couldn't pull the trigger, which is a thing you see a lot in fighters when they get old. And Tyson is beyond old. Beyond old. I was texting with some people like, I wish we could have seen this 25 years ago. And I joked with them. I was like, even 25 years ago, Mike Tyson was old and kind of washed up. Like, that's how old Mike Tyson is. I'm like, it's not, like, if we saw this 30 years ago, it was, it was still on, like, past Tyson's, like, best point. Like, that's how old Mike Tyson is. He's so old. It wasn't fixed. If anything, the fix was that Jake Paul didn't knock him out. Jake Paul hit a 1-2-3 on Tyson in, like, the 7th round, I think. Let me see if I took the note. Yeah, the 7th round. And tapped him. He could have knocked him out. Mike Tyson's just old. The fight wasn't fixed, people. The fight wasn't fixed. Again, if anything, the fix was that Mike Tyson didn't get knocked out. And that Jake Paul kind of took it easy on him down the stretch. Over in UFC, fun UFC event. The first fight, Marcio Rufi and James Yontop, that is spelled Llont, and somehow that means Jan. The pronunciation of names just never ceases to amaze me and trouble me. That was a fun-ass fight. Yontop had a big old swell under his eye. The women's fight was kind of boring. I think I wasn't even really paying the most attention. Bo Nickel, Paul Craig, that was an interesting fight. Slow at times. Some intrigue into it that Paul Craig is a guy who has some good jiu-jitsu skills, and Bo Nickel, I don't even know if he attempted a takedown. Got the decision. I thought he won 2-1. They called it 3-0. I'm okay with it. Bo Nickel is new, very new to MMA. Obviously, he was a great wrestler at Penn State, but I mean, he's only 7 fights in to his MMA career. I thought he should have gone full heel when everyone was booing him at the decision. They wanted some more action, obviously, but I thought he should have just gone heel and done. Just full heel and boo me bitches, just gone for it. The next fight, Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, real fun fight. I thought, some people may not have thought it was fun, but I thought it was fun trying to see Chandler, escape from being on the ground. He got dominated in the first 4 rounds. Charles Oliveira was so disciplined and calculated throughout that fight, and Chandler just couldn't get off and, get it really going. But Michael Chandler, I fucking love that guy. I know he lost, but my man in the final round has Oliveira on his back. He squats him up. He walks out to the middle of the ring, drops him on his head twice, and then just post-fight call out Conor McGregor again. Just see you at the top. Yes. I love Michael Chandler. I love it. And then John Jones. God damn, he's the GOAT for a reason. He just made it look effortless, made Stipe look old. Stipe's 41. John Jones, no spring chicken himself, and the man liked to party. And he just made it look effortless. His takedown in the first round was chef's kiss stuff, and just that spinning back kick right to the ribs just dropped him. And he threw a fucking haymaker coming in at him. Thankfully, that didn't hit, and he was able to get the finish anyway, because Stipe didn't need that in his life. Stipe retires in the ring, and I just want to list out some of Stipe's accomplishments here. Most consecutive defenses in the UFC heavyweight division history, most combined total defenses in UFC heavyweight division history, most wins in UFC heavyweight title fights, and most bonuses in UFC heavyweight division history. That dude's a hell of a fighter. He's a little over the hill, but John Jones gets Stipe Miocic on his record. John Jones, I know he's technically 28-1 and 1 no contest. My guy's undefeated. That one was a disqualification loss in a fight he was dominating. And actually the movie was disqualified for is legal now. John Jones, just perfect performance. And then, a little bit of little Trump dance at the end, gives his belt to Trump. Trump was there with the whole crew. And the crowd was loving it. So that was fun. That was a fun fight. I don't know what we got coming up. Peter Yan next week and Davison Figueroa. That card starts at 5 a.m. my time. I might catch a little bit of that. 310, not interested. Not interested in UFC 310. That's all they got on the board for the time being. So, fun fights. Time for some passing thoughts. Watched a couple of good documentaries this past week. First, Facing Nolan, about Nolan Ryan, obviously. Very good. Just told a good story about Nolan Ryan. A couple of fun takeaways, I thought. If you look at his numbers, his career was better from when he was 39 to 46, and if you break it out from 19 to 28 and 28 to 35. Just wild kind of thing there. 27-year MLB career. Just ridiculous how good of a career that was. Just wild. Absolutely wild that his career was so good at such a late stage and for so long. He struck out 7 father-son combos. 7 father-son combos. 7 no-hitters. Has the most one-hitter, 2-hitter, and 3-hitter games. I think it was 9 one-hitters. So he was 9, hits away from having something like 16 no hitters. Obviously, there was a moment in all those no hitters that could have been a hit that got taken away too. But just crazy stuff. The dude just likes being a cattle rancher now, and he beat the shit out of Rob Ventura. That was great. The Comeback on Netflix as well. Both of these on Netflix. The Comeback tells the story of the 04 Boston Red Sox coming back from 3 down. Way better than the 30 for 30 they did on it. Just great. And what it just reminded me of is that sports are awesome, period. Sports are always awesome. But sports are even more awesome when the two teams hate each other. Like, if you some of the most memorable stuff is teams that just don't like each other. Lakers Celtics in the 80s didn't like each other. I mean, Magic and Larry ended up becoming friendly, but like, you could just feel it. And you watch those videos, like, they did not like each other. And even when Magic and Larry kind of became friends, they wanted to beat each other even more. The Yankees and the Red Sox just straight up did not like each other. They were getting in fights, throwing it at each other. Just awesome. I was shocked Grady Little agreed to do that interview. Just wild that he accepted that and did that. I mean, he had to know he was going to get skewered for the Pedro decision in 03. I mean, just call him my daddy, Pedro said. But just wild that Grady Little was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I'll just tell it. And like, the craziest thing was, like, he just didn't have a great explanation. Like, he didn't, like, put it out there like, hey, this is what I was going to do. Just wild. Just wild. Yellowstone, the first 2 episodes have been I think. Interesting, I guess, concept with what they're doing with spoiler, with John Dutton, but not having Costner on the show is tough. I mean, he's the guy. He was the main character. I did think about this, and I didn't watch Rogue One recently, but I saw like a clip of the end of Rogue One with the Darth Vader scene set to a Metallica song. What was it? Ride the Lightning? Whatever it was. But it was like, man, the ending of a movie can really take a good movie and make it like great in your mind. Because I have gone back and watched Rogue One again, and when I first watched it, I was like, that was awesome. That was great. That's as good as any Star Wars movie. I've gone back and I've rewatched it. I'm like, it's a good movie, but like the ending scene like just takes it to such a level, and then it plays right into that's the start of A New Hope, and like the ability to end a movie with an incredible scene really just moves it to a whole different stratosphere. It's really incredible. I don't know why I thought of this. I listened to some George Strait this week. George Strait's the man, obviously. And Troubadour was playing. And for whatever reason, every time I think of Troubadour, I think of driving to my high school graduation party, and Troubadour was on the radio. And I don't know if I thought, oh, I'm a young Troubadour going out into the world, or if I was an idiot when I was 18, which is, true. And thought, oh, I'm graduating high school. I'm an old Troubadour now. But it's just funny that certain songs take you to a place in time and are like, just linked to a memory. And they just always are that thing. It's just funny to me. The Trump dance, it's everywhere. College football, pro football, fights, John Jones. It's incredible. It's out there in the world. The Trump dance is a thing. I was also shocked at one thing with Trump at the fights. How does Kid Rock always get the best seat with him? He had Elon up there with him, but then also with him, RFK, all his kids, Tulsi Gabbard, like Mike Johnson, the House majority leader, like all these people, and Kid Rock gets to sit up with him and Elon. Just absolutely incredible. I just don't understand what poll Kid Rock has that he gets the best seat at all time. It's wild. Yasser from the PIF was sitting right next to Trump the whole fight. Is Trump going to end the golf thing? Is Trump telling him, you get this shit done before I'm the president? It sounds like there is actually a deal coming. I was just really joking for the most part with the Trump thing, but it does sound like there's a deal for the PIF and Live to get something done with the PGA Tour, which would be good. Get all those guys playing on the same tour again. It's hurt golf, unmeasurable amounts. Them being split has made the majors kind of a little more interesting, but besides that. What else? Oh, the last thing, I've seen a lot of stuff about Blue Sky lately. Is Blue Sky just Twitter for lefties? The only thing I saw was that people are reporting each other at such high levels that the moderators cannot handle it. Interesting. I don't know. Just keep reporting yourselves into oblivion. Whatever. All right, let's go close this up. Closing time, everybody. As always, just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. Big thanks, as always, to everybody who watches, listens, shares, does all that stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate the support. As always, big thank you to Kevy for helping me get started on figuring out how to do the video. Really appreciate that. Back next week, more football, more hockey, more basketball, more of everything. It's all coming. We'll be back. Don't forget to check out the Full Range podcast as well. I believe Thursdays seem to be the drop date that MJ settled on for that. Check that out. I gave a little spin to writing on Substack. I might try that out and give that a go for another little perspective on different things. It's going to be kind of a different angle of attack than the pod, but check that out if you want. olewallshouse.substack.com. And as always, comment, like, subscribe, share, and until next week, peace.